So I've played Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and part of it was fun, part of it was boring, the rest was kind of underwhelming. For a game that was released by Rocksteady, the people that have made Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight, all of these games which were extremely well made, all of these worlds that they created that were dripping with character and just vibrance. It was such a beautiful world. Arkham Asylum was so creepy and so disturbing to walk around. Arkham City was a fantastic open world experience that we had never seen before with a Batman game. And then Arkham Knight was such a brilliant city-like landscape that was so distinctive that it just made it feel like this is the definitive version of Gotham. And it also gave us the definitive Batman experience. There has been no games in history that has captured the character of Batman so well like the Arkham series. So when we all heard rumblings that Rocksteady was making another game, we were all like, what could they do next? What will they do next? They've had multiple hints to other characters like the Flash, like Superman. Maybe they'll do a game for someone like that. A Superman game is something that people have wanted ever since the 64 version of Superman. God, those rings. Very soon we heard the news that Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League was in development by Rocksteady. And I think, like most people, we all just went, what the fuck? Why are we killing the Justice League and why are we playing as the Suicide Squad? Granted, playing as the Suicide Squad could be fun because each of the characters that they could introduce, like Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, Boomerang, all of these people could have very individual movesets. And the way that we use them could have been such a fantastic Arkham-style combat. Like, Harley Quinn could be the one that's most like Batman. Deadshot could be the ranged attack, so he could be the sniper or the shooter. Captain Boomerang could be using his boomerang. And then you could have King Shark, who's just a big brute that just pummels everybody down to the ground. And then we got the gameplay trailer, which then solidified everybody's problem with this game, which is that this is a glorified Fortnite ripoff from the creators of Batman Arkham City. And we're getting a ripoff of Fortnite. I don't know about you, but I wasn't really thrilled when I heard that. I was like, I'm playing as Harley Quinn, and I'm using a gun. Not only just like a hand pistol, which normally she would use, but like a machine gun. And that's her only weapon. Or her main one. I really don't think that that's going to capture the feeling of Harley Quinn. I'm sorry. That really doesn't feel like Harley Quinn. It feels more like Deadshot, for sure, but it does not feel at all like Harley Quinn or Captain Boomerang. This is not what I envisioned when somebody was like, let's play a Suicide Squad game. I was like, oh, okay, so we're doing acrobatics like with Harley Quinn. You could have like really cool platforming sections where Harley Quinn has to use her acrobatics to get through, similar to Arkham Asylum when Harley Quinn drops an elevator on top of him, and then he has to use his grappling mechanics, gliding mechanics, and running mechanics all to traverse that area in order to proceed.
I had to be there.
Sadly, no, that is not how the game went, because now the game is just one big, massive looter shooter. How does this game play? Does this game actually play in a really good way that utilizes the skills of these characters in a way that makes the game feel like these characters? Well, in a complicated way, no. In a simple way, no. But in some way, yes. Because with all of these characters, they do each individually have their own weapons or their melee combat. Captain Boomerang, he was more of the ranged guy, so when he's up close and personal or trying to hit somebody, he'll throw his boomerang in order to hit them. But for the most part, his combat is just guns. Same with Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn can get up close and personal, and she'll use her bat if you're using a melee attack, but for the most part, her combat is a gun. A machine gun. Deadshot, he's the one that makes the most sense because he's the one that has the sniper rifle or can have the sniper rifle, and he's the one with the wrist guns. So they make more sense because when he gets up close and personal, he's shooting them up close and personal. And then King Shark, he's more of the brute, so he does run around and just beats the piss out of people, but his combat is more akin to a big Gatling gun. For a game that was developed by Rocksteady, of all people, the people that perfected combat with a character, they took Batman and they were like, okay, how do we make his combat excellent, fantastic, that works with his character, that makes it feel like Batman? And they managed to pull it off flawlessly 3 games in a row. They have even managed to make Harley Quinn feel like a really good character in Arkham Knight in the DLC when you play as her. Because Harley Quinn is more like Batman in terms of her combat. Well, she's more like Nightwing, if anyone. But she's still capable of, like, jumping around, beating the crap out of people, and then still clearing out an entire room full of goons by herself. She has proven it before. Somehow she manages to beat the piss out of Nightwing. Don't know how that works. But for a game that is meant to be a live service game, something that is meant to keep you engaged for hundreds of hours, this game has the most baseline combat ever. And it's not enough to keep you engaged for several hundred hours. For the most part, while I was playing this game, I was just mindlessly going through it. Half the time I would try and skip the combat if I could and just go straight to the story mission. Which, whenever you get to a story mission, it's most likely going to have a lot of combat anyway, so there's no point in me wasting my time while running through the map using that combat when I can just get to the story mission, do a bunch more combat, and then move on.
I'm your daddy.
Which brings me to the missions of this game. The missions in this game are copied and pasted at least 3 or 4 times throughout the span of like 2 hours. Within 2 hours, I had done the same rescue mission, the same trailing mission, same mission that involves following a car while it drives really fucking slowly to a checkpoint, and then all of a sudden bad guys would just spawn out of nowhere, and then I'd have to shoot them, clear out the area, then the car would proceed. And you would have to do that like 3 or 4 times within the same mission. This game is meant to be a live service game. And if the missions in this game are all the exact same mission, or just like the exact same select few missions several times, just like sprinkled throughout, that's meant to keep you engaged for over 100 hours. I was bored of the same mission the second time I did it because it wasn't fun the first time. I hated having to like plow through a whole shit ton of bad guys only for the car that I was protecting to be like, there's a civilian over there, go save them. Okay, go save them. I was bored of that the first time because it was tedious as fuck the first time. It's not a game that's built on something interesting to keep you engaged for hundreds of hours. It's built on something that feels obnoxious.
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta end on your best joke.
So, the gameplay and the missions aren't enough to keep you engaged. What about the story and the characters? Okay, this game is set in the Arkham-verse. I have no idea why. Because all of the characters that are in this game that carry over from Arkham City or Arkham Knight do not feel like the same characters. Let's take Harley Quinn, for example. Harley Quinn in this game does not feel like the Arkham version of Harley Quinn. In fact, she feels like the Injustice version of Harley Quinn.
Promise it won't be awkward or nothing.
Which is a completely different version of Harley Quinn. Well, not completely different, but at least different enough in terms of character traits that this Harley Quinn feels like that Harley Quinn without any of the development. For those who haven't played Injustice, right? In the first Injustice game, Superman goes nuts. So the Joker kidnaps his wife and then forces Superman to accidentally kill her while he's like hallucinating the fact that she is Doomsday. So he flies her into the atmosphere and kills her accidentally, and then realizes that she's dead, and then upon her dying, the Joker has planted a bomb in Metropolis, which then explodes upon her death. So then Superman, murders him.
I know it's soon, but think you'll ever love again? Maybe you won't kill your next family.
But in this story, Harley Quinn has been left by the Joker because the Joker is obviously dead. So Harley Quinn has had time to reflect on the fact that Joker didn't necessarily treat her well. So she's had time to be like, no, I don't actually like the Joker anymore. So that when it turns out Injustice is a multiverse game and a different version of the Joker turns up, she starts falling back into her old ways until he tries to betray her again, and then she finally realizes that this version of the Joker is, or any version of the Joker, is just pure evil and she wants nothing to do with it.
Try to kill me? I'll slice that grin off of your face!
Harleen, no.
He was gonna... I can't believe I fell for him again.
He knew exactly which buttons to push. It's not your fault. It's what he does.
So then she starts helping the good guys. She even starts working with Batman. And in the second Injustice game, she's still conflicted, but for the most part, she's really trying her best to be her best. And that version of Harley Quinn is what this version of Harley Quinn feels like. She feels like all of the development that Harley Quinn did on screen, this version of Harley Quinn has been through, but has gone through it off screen. We have no reference for this. Instead of making that like part of her character in this game, being like trying to get over the Joker and doing her best to be a better version of Harley Quinn, she's just already gone through it, and now she's just the best version of herself. She's like the better version, like the Injustice version. We didn't see it, so it doesn't make sense. This version of Harley Quinn does not work. Then we have Deadshot. Now, I don't know about you, but Deadshot in this game looks a little different to how he did in Arkham City. We have fought this character twice in this series, and both times he did not look like this. I understand that they wanted to make Deadshot look like or feel like the Will Smith version of Deadshot. That's cool. I don't mind that at all. But you have already established a Deadshot within this universe, within this world. And this is not the right character. And I understand that they tried to explain away why this Deadshot looks so different, but it doesn't make sense. Why, in the ever-loving crap of this world, would a different person, completely different person, assume the identity of Deadshot? Why choose that specific person?
I am not done with this phony steampunk-ass looking dude.
Is that part of this game? Is that part of this story? No, it has no bearing on the story at all. We just get a one sentence, a one interaction that shows that this Deadshot is the true Deadshot, and the one that we fought in Arkham City and Arkham Origins is the wrong Deadshot, is an imposter. If you have a game that is centered around the world's greatest detective, wouldn't you think that Batman in general would have mentioned the fact that this version of Deadshot is an imposter and not the real Deadshot? Something tells me that he would catch on to that and then bring it up at one point. Or it would be mentioned at any point. Maybe in like the biopic, in the biographies in Deadshot, operating under an assumed name like Floyd Lawton, and it isn't actually Floyd Lawton. We don't actually know what his real name is. That would create a level of mystery around that version of Deadshot, and we'd be like, who the fuck is this guy? So that when the Suicide Squad game comes out, that version of Deadshot is the real Deadshot, and we're like, okay, so this is Floyd Lawton, so who was the other guy? It adds that level of depth, and you don't have depth if you have a one-word, one-sentence explanation saying, that guy's wrong, this guy's right. And then the character that is probably the most different from the last time that we saw him in this universe is Mr. Bruce Wayne, Batman. Because the last time that we saw this version of Bruce Wayne, he was in a really dark place. The last thing that we see him do is fake his own death because his identity was revealed to the world by Scarecrow.
Are you sure you want to do this, Master Bruce?
I've got to. It's the only way to protect them.
Very well.
We just saw Bruce Wayne, now known to be the masked vigilante Batman, enter his home, refusing to come.
So then, after seeing that, what did he do? This game goes out of its way to be like, yeah, after he did that, then he just revealed that he was alive and he was well, and now he's buddy-buddy with Superman.
Several years after faking his death, Bruce Wayne finally returned, drawn back to the light by the metahuman superheroes from Metropolis. They asked Batman to join the Justice League. He accepted. And so, the story of Bruce Wayne, the Batman, continues, far from the mean streets of the city that made him. I'm Jack Ryder. Thanks for taking this journey with me.
Why is he buddy-buddy with Superman? Why is he now accepting allies? Why is he now accepting the fact that he can work with the team again?
Thanks, Selina, for the daring last-minute rescue. It was very heroic.
It was under control.
Sure it was. Now be a good damsel and bestow a kiss on your gallant hero.
Play nice.
You're not playing at all.
No, I'm not. Not anymore.
And what's that supposed to mean?
It means this is the end, Selina. It means we can't. I can't.
I will see you again, right?
No one will. Gotham needs something more, something worse to defend her. She needs a new myth. A legend more powerful than I can be right now. A legend that can only rise from the ashes of the Batman.
Some things you can't do alone, Bruce.
And some things you have to.
Call if you need me.
I won't.
Several years after faking his death, Bruce Wayne finally returned, drawn back to the light by the metahuman superheroes from Metropolis. They asked Batman to join the Justice League.
You've completely skipped over like an entire portion of this character's life. At least my interpretation of the ending of Arkham Knight. When he faked his own death, he was faking the death of Bruce Wayne so that he could be fully assumed by Batman. So that when the true ending happens and they see like the nightmare version of Batman, my interpretation of that is that Bruce is just fully assuming the identity of Batman and having none of the Bruce Wayne aspect. None of his allies, none of his friends, none of his well, I mean, he would need his fortune, but at the very least, he's discarded all of that so that he can be fully assumed by the Bat. So, how does that version of Batman develop from that point in his life where he can go over to Superman and be like, hey, we're friends, yeah? Let's work together. Now, something tells me that Warner Brothers is probably in development or developing a comic book or a book that explains all of that before this story. So you have to essentially buy that comic book in order to understand Batman's story for this game. There are lots of people that are really annoyed that this version of Batman just gets shot in the head, and this is the last time that Kevin Conroy has ever voiced the character. Now, I have my own issues with how this Batman is presented, but it's not because it's Kevin Conroy's last outing as the Knight. Because when they were making this game, it's not like anybody knew it was going to be Kevin Conroy's last outing as the Dark Knight. I fully understand that. I would never put that pressure on this story because no one knew. No one would have known. But the way they treat his character in this story is what I have a problem with. Because this character, this version of Batman, is essentially made a joke out of.
You've already lost, Luther. I am vengeance.
At first, one of my favorite missions in this entire game is a mission where you are literally the thugs on the ground and the Batman is hunting you. I love that section so much. This section is a fantastic moment. It truly captures how terrifying Batman can be when he's fully Batman mode. And it just makes me feel like the thug, and I feel like at any point Batman's just going to drop out of the sky and bang, dead. I'm out. And I really like that. I really do. I think that was a fantastic inclusion. And when it gets to his boss fight, it's pretty reminiscent of how the Joker goes out in Arkham Knight, where lots of Batman statues are coming out of nowhere. It's really horrific. When it gets to the actual boss fight of Batman, I genuinely was like, what the fuck is going on here? What is this? Why is Batman just like a big monster? And why is the only thing that I can do is shoot it, and that's it? He dies. He just dies. Well, he doesn't die, but like, he goes down. This version of Batman has been built up as the most effective, as the literal peak of humanity. And he literally has the perfect balance between strength and speed. He cannot be any faster without compromising his strength, and he cannot be any stronger without compromising his speed. And he's trained in over 120 forms of combat. This should have been the fight of their goddamn lives. They should have barely scraped past this fight, but all they have to do is stand in a circle and shoot at the big bat, and he goes down. How is that a good way to send off this character? How is that a good boss fight that incorporates everything that made this version of the character that literally built this company with any respect? And then from that point on, this version of Batman is just made a joke out of. Like, the most iconic line that this version of Batman has ever said, it just gets made a joke out of in this scene.
I am vengeance. I am...
Also, I don't know where all of his strength has gone. Like, this man would have easily gotten out of this predicament well before this even happened. But he gets taken out into Superman Park, or the Central Park, or whatever the fuck it's called. And he's sitting on a bench, and he's just spouting off random crap. And then Harley Quinn's just like, yep, and bang.
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta end on your best joke.
it's really a disappointing death for this version of Batman, because this version of Batman is literally the best version of Batman to have ever been depicted ever. So much so that other versions of Batman have been based around this version of Batman. But then you have the other Justice League members, and they vary from really good to mediocre as fuck. I think the Flash is probably the funniest of the lot, because for one, we see him before he was transformed into the Brainiac version of the Flash, which I think is really cool. I think it's a nice way to show that they're still trying to save the world before they get taken over. Then after he's transformed, he becomes like the most homicidal maniac in the world, and I think it's hilarious.
Nice one, Lex. Always thought your inventions were a bit shit, but this... Would you look at that? He did have a heart. Catch. Oh, yuck!
But then we have like Green Lantern, and I think Green Lantern is okay. Like I never really cared that much about this version of Green Lantern because we don't really have a reason to care. And the Flash is the same. Like Flash, Superman, Wonder Woman, all of them, Green Lantern. We don't have a reason to care because we've never met these characters in this universe before. I will say, I love when Superman first appears in this game. It's like, oh fuck, we're screwed moments, and I love it.
Yeah, go Superman! Oh fuck, it's Superman!
I do feel like that these versions of the characters are relying on us as an audience to already have a pre-established relationship with these characters in other media. I love the fact that Wonder Woman's score in this game is very reminiscent of her score from the movies. And Wonder Woman is also the one character that actually gets a decent send-off in this game. Her death is treated with such respect and such love that it really disappoints me that all the rest of the Justice League were murdered in ways that were just disrespectful to these characters. It feels like these people had such a love fest with Wonder Woman that they were like, oh yeah, the other League members, well, let's have Boomerang piss on the Flash.
Respect to this fallen hero. Bye.
Show a little class, man. Holy shit. Congratulations.
Makes sense. The gods have cursed you in every other way.
Then the entire plan to lure Superman out to fight us, to fight the squad members, is to take Batman into the park and then kill him so that Superman will come running.
One of the world's finest heroes. Snuffed out by this.
Now I understand. I have a pre-established relationship with these two characters together. Superman and Batman are probably one of my favorite combos in superhero media because of how different the two of them are, but how similar they are as well. And they form almost a brotherhood over that difference, but also over that similarity. Batman even becomes a better character because of Superman. And all of that is not in this game. It's not even in this universe. We have no relationship between these two characters ever. We have never seen this version of Batman and this version of Superman interacting with each other outside of a cardboard cutout of the two. There has been no conversations, none at all, between these two characters, which means when Superman comes running, we're meant to be like, oh, Superman's his best friend. We have none of that. This relationship is not developed at all, which means this version of Superman, when he comes out, is like, oh, Superman's here, cool. That's nice. We have to fight him now.
One of the world's finest heroes. Snuffed out by this.
Which then brings me to the boss fights of this game. I think Superman is probably the best boss fight in this game because he is the hardest boss fight in this game. When I was fighting Superman in this game, I had dialed it down to the easiest mode on the game, the easiest difficulty, and I was still stuck on this thing for about an hour. I was there for so long trying to kill him. At least this version, or at least fighting Superman, does in a way feel like fighting Superman because he never stands still. He never stands still long enough for me to fucking shoot him, and he's always zipping around the arena where he was there 1 second, he's gone the next. He's over here, now I've got to find him over there and then hopefully shoot him. But because the whole system has a mechanic where I have to shoot him with a counter before I can actually shoot him properly, and the more counter that I do, the higher my counter on him, the more damage that my bullets will do upon impact. And getting those counter shots was a nightmare. The only Justice League member in this game that doesn't have a boss fight is Wonder Woman. And I kind of thought that would be because she would be like the last boss fight that we would do. Nope, that is not at all the case. In fact, I don't even know what the last boss fight is like because I couldn't get to it. Because I hit this. Throughout the entirety of this game, I had been just beelining it to the main story missions. I was doing as many of them as I could. I just wanted to get through the story. And I didn't have a problem with that until this point. I finally got to the final boss fight and then I hit a paywall. And I was like, you can go fuck yourself. I am not paying money in order to complete the game. Yes, I can go through some of the side missions and try my best, try my damnedest to finish it, but you know what? I don't have the patience for that. I really don't care. All of your side missions are crap. I hit this paywall. I was like, you know what? I've done enough in this game. I'm good. So then I just watched what happened on YouTube. And apparently he turns into the Flash, and then hallelujah.
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta end on your best joke.
As far as I'm concerned, this game does not... I don't think it fits. Because the characters in this game feel nothing like the Arkham versions of the characters. And the ones that are made a joke out of. So, I don't think this game is a good inclusion into the Arkham-verse, and I think if you want a good inclusion into the Arkham-verse, play through the main 4 games, Batman Arkham Origins, Asylum, City, and Night. Play through them, you'll have a great experience in this series, and then do nothing else.
Confirmed hit! Twin Rattler hit! Twin Rattler offline! Heads up, Batman's here! Like him! Attack from all sides!
This game was a massive disappointment, and I really think they should have and could have done better with these characters, and if they do manage to make another game, because rumor has it that they're not done with the Arkham series, nor the Batman games, even though Kevin Conroy is dead, Do not replace him. Even though this is a fumble, I do think that they can bring it around if they scale it back. Don't make such a massive map next time. Don't make such a big investment. Have one character, maybe two characters, smaller map where the two of them are just focused on a story, focused on a mission. One mission, bunch of side quests. It'll be good. Trust me, you've done it before. Make something similar to Arkham Knight. Make it something similar to Arkham City. Like in terms of size and scale, it wasn't that big of a map. And if you go back and play it with today's standards in mind, it's actually a really short game. You could do that again, and it would be probably most successful. This video was a bit all over the place, but I do hope that I got my point across that this game is not very good. But if you had fun playing it, I hope that was the best experience you've ever had in your life. Good for you. But this game was a massive disappointment for me, and I don't see myself playing it any more than the 20 or so hours that I've already done.
It took just 24 hours for us to lose control of the city. Tonight, Gotham's relying on one man to save us all. I am vengeance.
I am the Knight. I am Batman.
Hey! Oh. No, Max, wait! No, please! No!
Goodbye, Joker.
No, Bruce! Don't leave me! Please! I need